Welcome back to something I've probably forgotten how to do by this point because it's been so long, and that is DM for Monday. We return to the Cryptic Kabal, though barely an applicable name these days given the current circumstances of the party. Last time we left off was a day before in session, with the party having managed to get attacked by the two ships of the King's Mercy and the don't tell me. Sorry, I'm pulling up my note here. Does not have another name, so I can't. I can't remember what it was, but it was another ship, just like the King's Mercy. Both
Wings brightness.
Wings Brightness, that's right, because it was named after Og. That's right. The King's Mercy and Wings Brightness having been taken down by the party, with them managing to not only sink one of these ships, the one, unfortunately, of Wings Brightness, as may have convinced the crew that they should shoot at each other, so a little bit of confusion, insanity, and some very bright colors. And as the ship was unfortunately cracked, the bottom bow pretty much snapped in half. The ship found itself sinking beneath the waves, though thankfully Wave Scales and his crew were able to manage to save the ship. However, unfortunately, to the same issue, they did lose the crew of the Wings Brightness. With that, the party did manage to take down a secondary ship known as the King's Mercy with a lot less damage, managing to convince about 57 of the original, almost, I think, 100 crew to join up with the crew, at least for the time being, as it was better than trying to swim back to shore after having seen a group of Krakens begin to attack their ship. With them having fended off the Krakens and with the new Frost Giant crew, the party pretty much had everything under control, watching and waiting for the second shoe to drop. But as the Krakens having retreated, the crew having signed on for the time being, and the King's Mercy, well, under the control of the Captain Azurus and the Red Lady Pirates, the party finds themselves still with the other group of pirates who had assisted them, the West Wind Pirates on the Crying Lass, unfortunately held by the Gezel, the Western Wind. Og Blackbone. Too many Ogs in this game, I swear. Og Blackbone, Og Blackbone's personal right hand. Just gonna say it a few times, really, emphasize that name for you. With that, the party had left off after being told that he was basically expecting a cut of the treasure, with the crew now underhand and the party kind of going about looking through the ship and figuring out really what quarters they want for themselves and what the new loot they had. We come back to the day of the 19th, rather, the morning of the 19th as day breaks. The two ships still or the three ships, four, because it'd be Wave Scales, the Crying Lass, the Red Lady herself, as well as the King's Mercy, all kind of floating near each other, having spent the better day looking through, or rather the better of the night looking through the ship, getting themselves kind of acclimated, and taking the treasure that they had found. The captain kind of putting himself away inside the quarters with much loot, only bringing you lot as his officers to be allowed within. Still, no sight of Crump Jr., but with all going on currently, who knows where he could be amongst the hubbub. As you lot kind of come back to the morning, in the captain's quarters, finally the last of the loot sorted and sided off. Coffee being brought in by one of the Frost Giant crew, who seems to be helping Karesk and having settled in quite nicely. A couple of dishes of what looks to be what was carried on this ship, which is unfortunately, or fortunately for some of those who enjoy it, the taste of salted dried pork meat within a very thick pork broth. A little bit of alcohol mixed into it to give it a bit of flavor, but otherwise there's not much more to the stew. The four of you Yes, 4. Okay, making sure I can count. Sitting together as a group inside this captain's quarters is as massive as you look about. A large table in the center that seems to be about almost 10 feet in width and length, a massive bed designed for a huge creature. The sheets made of silk, a red coloration, and the emblem of the House of Brightwing kind of emblazoned onto it. A painting of Og Brightwing. It looks to be kind of hung up over the bed. A desk off to the side where it looks like the captain kind of kept most of their paperwork. And a few what looks to be suits of armor that are mostly mundane, kind of just sitting there. As Floorsnap starts handing out his squiddy snacks, or a small amount of his squiddy snacks amongst the 4 of you. Holy, okay. That's what you're handing over? Alright. As we come back, though, we rejoin the crew on the, as is tradition, let me find the date, the 19th of the Chaos, which is June in the year 65,008. 4 months out from their current destination, as we return. With morning breaking, Captain Azurus kind of looking over the list one last time as he kind of goes over it, checking off a few things. You all come back to, as the sun breaks, the light kind of filling the cabin as the windows on the side of the ship seem to kind of almost open up and glow as the sun seems to come through. It looks to be a clear sky day, surprisingly. A nice balmy 70 degrees outside with a nice wind of about 50 degrees. As you lot kind of find yourselves in the room sitting around enjoying your breakfast.
See, I told you. The chew is fantastic. However, unfortunately, I will be keeping the rest for myself.
Yeah, you're free to do that. I'm okay with my salt pork.
Squiddy snacks.
Squeaky, 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 squeaky.
I prefer my squid fried.
I'm just upset that we didn't get any of their hearts.
Yeah, there's always the future. We'll get some eventually. Well, actually, I'm surprised. Didn't some of the young Kraken die from the fire, or did any of them, or did they all run away?
No, the Kraken fully all ran. You managed
all
to
of them, even the little ones.
Yeah. Once you cracked the creature, or you managed to cut off the tentacles of the 2 largest, the rest scattered pretty quickly.
Well, I remember a bunch of them swarmed and started trying to sink and crash at my ship, and it wasn't until we either lit them all on fire and shocked the hell out of them did they actually. Some of them. Left.
No, I did not do enough damage because it took 200 damage per to kill one.
Gotcha.
No, but you did. A whole school of them was wounded enough to swim away.
All right, fine.
I just figured that if there was any, they got feeding frenzied on the way out.
Yeah, any of the ones that were weak probably just got eaten by their counterparts.
But as you lot sit kind of in the captain's quarters, the ship is much nicer than the last one that you guys were in. The vessel much roomier. All of the rooms massive. The ship designed in sense for large and huge creatures. So every doorway gives you plenty of headway. None of the doors, though, seem heavy as you push onto them. The biggest and greatest gain, as you learn, it seems to be the galley kitchen, as Karesk has been able to double up his alcohol production in the background.
I fucking love that guy.
Squiddy snacks.
Shut up about the squiddy snack! No, I'm joking.
I just look at you like wounded and affronted.
No, I'm kidding. Enough with the squid snacks!
I value the squiddy snacks more than I value your ship.
Good God. I value my shit more than your life. What's your point? No.
I don't think you have the capital to back that statement.
I don't know. What do you mean?
That is a good question.
Nonetheless. All right. Well, I have the list in which I'm going to I've sent our dear DM the half that's going to our saviors.
Oh, we're paying them. I thought we were considering screwing them and leaving.
Fuck that. Listen, we narrowly escaped death today. Well, yesterday. But, yeah, no. I'm not gonna fuck these guys over. They're, not only do I massively have deep respect for them, they also saved their asses. And, you know, they deserve part of the take. We'd be, if it weren't for them, we'd be dead in the water. That's for certain.
As May shrugs. So you kind of go through looking at the list, kind of giving one last glance over. One of the guards at the door kind of comes knocking almost immediately as you hear from outside. Do we call you Captain?
Yeah, that's me.
Captain, one of the ambassadors, is what he calls himself, is coming over.
Excellent. Show him in.
You hear a little bit of light whispering kind of coming from the other side of the doorway. After a few moments, though, the door seems to open, and as you see this long, almost flowing golden hair that seems to kind of reach down to the individual's stomach. His armor made of silver, gold, and copper, seemingly glimmering, each looking to be almost like chainmail, but instead of actual chain, it seems to be links of small bottles, almost like the rubbing the lamp you see in the genie. I forget what those are, or in Aladdin. I forget what they're called off the top of my head. But each of those, yes, basically one of those designed and basically chained up to another. One either with silver, with gold, or with copper-like coloration. Many of them having small little runes and gemstones kind of encrusted into them. His face looks to be quite plain, though, with the green skin kind of, and that seems to lightly flutter. His eyes kind of almost fiercely made of gold as he looks on it to you. Piercings and gemstones seeming to almost cover about 50% of his face as he looks up. The rest almost covered by facial hair that looks to be almost as bright as his hair on his head. On his hip, you can see a jewel-encrusted what looks to be longsword, and on the other hip looks to be a simple and very plain looking glass bottle with the simple letter of A on the side of it. Nothing else kind of written onto it. As he kind of steps in, standing about huge in size, so almost about 17-ish feet at this point. He kind of looks about as he does, looking over at you almost immediately, Azurus, as he smiles. A couple of golden and silver teeth glimmering in the light as they do, and goes, Ian Aquin, welcome, dear brother. I am glad to see another one of our own out on these seas.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I haven't seen one of my own kind ever before. This is quite an interesting situation for me.
I'm just glad you speak the family tongue. Not many do.
Yes, it's been quite tiring speaking in common all these times.
A lesser tongue, no doubt, as he looks over at May and Floorsnap, and as well as Wara, kind of looking about and goes, You travel with hags and sloths. Interesting company for a djinn.
Hag? Da, da.
He seems to look over at May, almost kind of giving a glance, and then kind of smiles, putting his hand lightly up to his lips and goes, Oh, you did not know.
I didn't. Interesting.
May and like just giggling.
Because if you were to confront May about it, she'd just be like, yeah, duh. What do I look like?
Not a hag.
Wara looking about to Floor Snap, looking out to Maine, looking at himself, and trying to figure out whether he's the slot or the hag.
Huh, so that's what floor snap is. Also,
It's definitely what Wara is.
I just lean over to May. It's like, do they sound like they're drowning, or is it just me?
I was hoping you'd understand what they're saying.
Nope, don't speak a word.
As he continues and goes, anyways, I hear you're here to pay me my dues. It's good. I was really hoping I wouldn't have to blast you out of the water.
yeah, I've got no problem with, splitting the loot today. We all put in some good work out there taking down these guys.
True, and I mean, one of us didn't summon the Krakens or ruin the other's game as he was hunting the individual ships for their loot. But I will be a good sport and feel a good a 2/3 share is a fair amount. You'll take 1/3, I'll walk out with 2/3, and we can call it good.
2/3, I was told you wanted half.
Oh, I understand. That was yesterday, but since you seem to be inviting yourself upon this beautiful vessel here, figured it would be better that I take my piece in less of a bloody term. However, if you'd rather, I can fully let my crew know and we can just take it by force.
Listen.
I am.
I'm a man of my word, and I was hoping you would be too. So,
Out of character, a day has passed?
About 8 hours, roughly. Because you guys ended and basically spent the night looking over the ship, going through the inventory, and then this is the next morning.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll be content with your half of the take. If you want the other vessel, it's currently sinking.
Looks at you and goes, my understanding is your crew member managed to keep it afloat. I'll take half and I'll take this vessel. You already have 2 floating vessels. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to walk out of here and repair the other.
If I'm correct, didn't the spell end in it? They stopped it from floating?
The guy has a wand of it floating still. Because he brought it over to your guys' area. It's still up in the air.
I'm sorry, but I can't back down. I'll give you your half. You can have the ship that's currently floating. And we'll shake our hands and sail away. I'm very grateful for you, and I'm almost certain we might have come out a lot more battered if you weren't there with us. But I think sticking by the deal in which that was made yesterday is the one I'm going to be sticking with.
Give me a diplomacy check.
Okay. Alright, let's see. Which dice am I going to use? The one with the skull on it? Absolutely.
Also, good try, Warwick. Good try. I appreciate it.
That'll be a 17.
17. Kind of looks at you up and down and kind of, after a moment of awkward staring, just kind of looking at you. He suddenly opens it to a bright smile and goes, as he pats you on the shoulders and picks you up off the ground. How much do you weigh?
1,000.
Oh, perfect. You are actually within the weight limit. That works.
All right, that's fair
as
enough.
he picks you up and smiles up at you and sets you back down and goes, finally, someone with brass between his legs. I was expecting to have to end this in a bloody fashion without someone who is capable of holding their own. crew like yours wouldn't have respected you long, and would have been doing you a favor for what they would have done to you if they had found out. As he smiles and looks over to them, looks over to Floorsnap, May, and Wara, and goes in common. Your captain is quite an ingenious man, and in exchange for that, I will only be taking. As he kind of looks over, he snaps his fingers, and a little list starts floating up in the air over towards him, and kind of looks at it. Goes, 60,000 gold. That'll cover the expenses of what we lost in ammunition and materials. And in exchange, I want to see you lot do something with your lives. As he kind of looks at all of you.
Which part?
That is the question for you to determine, good sir. But your captain has more brass between his legs than most of the people on these seas. You'd be right to follow him into whatever he's planning to do. However,
I've been told to look for Mormon, Moron, Morin. Do you know anything?
What?
That was a lot of words.
he just stops, kind of leans over to Azurus and Aquin and goes, is he, like, soft in the head?
I don't know. He recently, decided to move away from following a world leader. I don't know if he's just acclimating to this freedom that he now has.
He looks over at Warren, and that switches to common and goes, my good friend, I did not know you were a slave for so many years to the life you had. My apologies. We speak much more common amongst each other when you're a freedman. You don't have to act so nervous. What is this moron you speak of?
The Mormon, Moron, Morin. I've been told I need to find them and kill them.
Morin? Well, that's a royal family from a foreign continent. Beyond that...
Which continent, please?
Looks at Thief. There's a giant tree known as Thief, but all that means is something along the lines of fate or harmony? I don't know.
Which continent, please?
Oh! Yeah, looks at you, goes, do you have a map?
There on the wall.
As you look over at the wall, there is a map on the wall, actually, funny enough. It is of the known world. As he kind of looks over at it and goes, no, I'm talking an actual... Kind of leans into his pocket and pulls out something out of it and starts unfolding it. And you see a more complete version. There are thousands of islands, little mini, what looks to be complete continents, completely that are left unmarked. As he kind of holds it up in front of the map, there's thousands of little pockmarks everywhere.
Is one of the undocumented continents in the shape of the dark continent map that I had?
It is.
I would assume, and then I'll...
Yes, you would recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah. What I point out is that where the Morans are? Or at least where they came from?
Not to my knowledge. Their family has a few royal houses there, but I've never been. That's just how the stories go. Something along the lines of Fate got slain, and thus 7 were born. 7 who would carry on the truth of Fate. I don't know what it means personally, but I heard it when I was traveling with Og. Yeah, looks at all of you and goes, "You're not going to this dark continent, are you?"
That was the original plan, but we've got some work to do before I can even think about finding a place to settle down.
No.
Not to bring family politics in it, but when I was still in good with my mother, she used to say things like, "Fate is a load of dog water. It's not worth the breath that it's used to talk about."
That's because your mother probably follows the old hag belief. The hags come from the destruction of one of the primordial beings, or so the story goes. Simply put, they fractured off, and because of that, they don't like these things called lawbearers, so I don't know what being much beyond the title. All I know is they say something about they have a law, and they bear it, and they keep dying. Not much else I could find. as he looks amongst the rest of you and goes, "But if you're planning to go to that continent, I'd like to maybe not necessarily join you, but I would be happy to invest in your interest in going there. And also my own interest in what you learn."
I know I'm going to be doing a job for somebody here soon, and hopefully I'm going to see if I can get any information about the Dark Continent out of them, maybe a place or a way to settle there.
The only people who know about it are the Morans.
Then you know exactly who I'm doing a job for.
You'd be a fool to have signed on to one of them. I mean, they're the kind of guys that, God, they made that one Crump Senior fella disappear. I mean, you have to have power to make an individual capable of bringing two nations together through trade and bullshit. I mean, the man was nothing but a mouthpiece, and he still managed it. And they took him out, as he snaps his fingers, just like that. You're telling me you made a deal with one of those bastards?
As far as I know, yeah, we don't have a timetable, but looks like we're going to be pulling off a heist in the Crystal Giant lands.
Shakes his head at the rest of you. Goes, "You're either bigger fools than I know, or you're the bravest adventurers that are out in these seas."
Fortune favors the bold, am I right?
He nods. And he looks over at May and kind of gives him a slightly awkward look, and then looks over at Floresnap and goes, if I may recommend, I don't know if it'd be wise to take your the crew with you. Some facts and histories may be uncomfortable for individuals to learn the truth behind.
I'll consider your words.
Nods at them. So he looks up to the rest of you in common and goes, "If you all plan to go here," as he points to the map, "you're going to need abilities and capabilities that the world hasn't seen. My recommendation, you need a crew stronger than what you have. And with that, I'd start looking around for either valuable assets that you can bring on or favorable adventures you can make deals with."
Yeah. That's the hope as we travel around, get better people, better gear. Such is the way things are.
Gasel kind of looks at you and shakes his head and goes, "No, young man, you need to understand what I mean. You're going to need adventurers that aren't just capable of the average sailor. Your crew here isn't even capable enough yet to make it to something like that. You're going against creatures that are far beyond what even nation leaders, kings on the battlefield could handle. The apex monsters of these lands are what would be considered an equivalent to a normal beast in those territories. You'd be better off, honestly, going and doing something with that Thrycreen lands than you'd be going all the way there."
Maybe that's something that we can do later on then. Do you know of any islands that are currently hidden away, unavailable to the prying eyes of the nations?
Kind of points at the map and goes, "Thousands. The collective doesn't mark any of them. They don't consider them viable islands, as most of them will sink beneath the sea with much weight on them, but if you're willing to, there's plenty. As far as your map goes, you're going to need to get something a bit more updated.
Where could I get a map like that?
The swords are the best option, if you can find one. Group of researchers that follow the... have you heard of the Hag Mother Vitra, the Ash Mother?
Aye, that's my mother.
Kind of stops looking at you, kind of noticing that, and goes, "You're that hag?"
What?
I look over at you, and I put my fist on my cheek, and I snap my fingers, and I use I dropped the polymorph I've had on since I met you, and the only thing that changes is my hair color and my hair color turns red, and marks me at, and I literally look like most of Vitra's daughters.
Well, I've never seen any of Vitra's daughters before, so that's the
The only,
stretch.
yeah, the only even the depiction of Vitra is of her coven symbol. It isn't of her personally in the book.
That's fair.
Most because I haven't had an artist rendition yet, so that would be a long time off.
Yeah.
But
It's like, good, you can change your hair.
as your hair changes, his eyes go wide, and he kind of looks over at you again, Azurus, and goes, and continue comment goes, well, if that's the case, you might actually be more ready than I thought. The swords follow the the Vitra, the Apex Ashmug Mother's Ashmother, as he kind of like really is taking a moment, still like looking over at at May, and kind of like really trying to contemplate what's going on here. As he continues, he goes, she was one of the few researchers who preferred fieldwork, and apparently some of her more vested students who had learned her methods, no minor that they may have been, chose to form an elite group calling themselves the Swords, and they go around offering information that isn't just paid for. Public information, if you will, a freedom of information. If you can't meet them, there's a few vendors in the world that I've ran into that carry these maps, but most of them are black market dealers, and you're mostly going to be looking for the black market itself. And most of the larger capitals, Dragon's Crown, I hear, has a couple of vendors that offer them. The Grey Rats in Diamond's Death are one of the more well-known map makers. In fact, actually, they just recently got a large report of it, from what I was understanding, a table being made for Greg's Maratoms of the Dark Continent.
Interesting. Mel, do you think you'd be able to send a message to your mother, maybe see if she can get a map sent to us from the Swords?
This guy goes wide-eye at the mention, just looking between the two of you. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, now, here's the thing, right? My mother, anything that's discussed in front of one of the daughters, as in one of my kin, my mother knows about. I'm not sure how. I think it's one of my older sisters who does it. In truth, but my mother is very judicious in how she distributes her secrets. Now, that being said, something all of us have been knowledgeable of is that until about, what was it, a month? 2 months? A couple of months have gone by, but my mother was locked away in Abaddon for a few months, and she only recently came back, but she's done fucked off to another plane again. But she occasionally poked her head into this one to check on us. So it's kind of hard to touch and go. Plus, from what I understand, I don't know if she's still in contact with the Sards. I'm one of the worst of my sisters to be asking this from, because I'm doing my own thing, so to speak. Though
I'm just concerned that your mother now knows everything that we've been doing, and that makes me uneasy.
Looks over and goes, fairness, if she didn't like it, you'd already be dead. You wouldn't have mattered.
Certainly. That doesn't help. That doesn't make me feel better.
Yeah, nods at that and goes, I've seen Vitra myself. He's a capable caster in combat. There's not much I'd worry, though. She's not exactly the type to go after people, at least to my knowledge. Not unless you're stupid enough to try and kill one of her daughters, but not many people are willing to go after, an apex monster's named kin.
Fair enough. All right. Well, hopefully we find a good map, find a place to settle down. I think after we spend some time in the Crystal Giant lands, we're gonna head over to what I believe I've heard about, some kind of nation of thieves or whatever. Was it Flares? Flare runs this place, I believe.
The Flare Dukedom, he nods.
Yeah, heard that might be a good place to maybe hunker down for a minute or make a home base till I find my own little cove to make home.
Good place to lay low, but I should warn you, people tend to go missing. And next thing you know, you see someone who looks just like him amongst the guard. Completely different person, though. Nothing similar, no acting. Everything looks exactly like the person. Doesn't remember a damn thing and seems to be a completely different person on the inside and out. So...
Now, is it just anybody or people who cause problems in the territory?
I mean, everyone causes problems. Most of the town is filled with mercenaries, adventurers, lowlifes, pirates, and drunks. So anybody trying to escape to the frontier territories can't really turn away good working hands when you got a giant lizard on your border that's been to hell. As he kind of like laughs at that.
I wonder if that giant lizard is friendly with Mother.
He shrugs and goes, "It's insane."
That's the Normek guy, right?
No, I'm talking about the apex monster. It's some wyvern that went insane supposedly after eating its kin.
Was it dragon sickness or something?
No. From my understanding, it got banished there, went nuts, and ate. Just basically nothing was left there to eat. Got to eat to survive. He ate them all and gained some fire that's scarier than anything else in Moors.
Might be a good hunt later down the line.
You're a funny one.
Or May's gonna want the heart.
Hi.
I guess
Sportsnight's gonna want to eat it.
I guess I'll kind of like lightly pats you on the shoulder, laughing at that, and goes, "Oh, that's funny."
Yeah, we're nowhere near apex hunting right now.
Just for yourself.
Okay.
He looks over at Floorsnap and goes, I gotta ask, sir, I don't know your name, but if you don't mind, I'm curious. Have you heard about the value that's going on right now for slots? There's a guy got a bounty, 10 million gold pieces for any information that leads to a slot's capture or a location. So he kind of looks you up and down.
Interesting.
Doesn't seem readily worth it, honestly.
And if I was a less law-abiding man and less interested in your futures, I might do something about it, but I should warn it comes from a reputable backer, someone who's actually got the coin to back it up. I would consider your future carefully.
I'm on vacation now. The world changes when I get off vacation.
It kind of chuckles at that slightly and goes, He looks over back at Lazarus, and goes, No, you've got an interesting crew here. Looks over at Or and goes, but I must ask. As he switches to Aqua and to lean into Azurus, he goes, why do you have a exact copy of myself looking at me?
I just look at... That's what you see?
What do you mean? Do you think that's you? You don't have the locks to pull that off. As he lightly pulls on his hair and looks over at Wara again.
No, it's me. He's like this like a white bipedal lion.
Kind of looks again over and suddenly he goes, why does that lion have my hair? And switches to calm. Go ahead.
Maybe he likes your style. I don't know.
He looks over at Warren and calm, and he goes, you, sir, your captain says you like my style. Why do you have the same hair as me?
I look between the two of them with a confused look.
I was informed that it was fashionable at this time.
Give me a bluff check.
When are we gonna figure out what you are?
This is the DM just teasing something in the background. It's never gonna come prevalent.
Hold on.
Hmm?
What do you... I look at the elemental man's fucking hair, which is like imbued with elements and stuff like that. And then I look at this, from what I remember him being described as to Milo, midget frost giant.
He is a tall or large. Yeah, he is a midget for. He's about average height for a frost giant. But he is green skinned and with long locks. So basically like Fabio, but a little bit more flamboyant.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me he looks like a white Leonin.
Oh, you're talking about War. My apologies. I thought you were talking. Yeah, ignore me. I thought you were talking about the Captain Gasell. Yes, War changes his appearance based on what you're looking at. So whatever you remember him as last May is what you see.
Yeah, he looks like what I remember him looking at the first time was
A dwarf frost giant.
yeah, a dwarf frost giant, like
Okay.
a short frost giant, basically, like a large creature that is a frost giant, aka something that should be a huge minimum.
Yes. As you look over and see this, he doesn't seem to have the hair. Though, as you look now, kind of taking a moment, his hair suddenly changes to match the other what Gasell is saying, or Gasell's hair.
I'm going to
Also 8 bluff War. Okay.
I'm gonna
What the fuck are you?
I'm going to poke Wara, and that should count as me interacting with the illusion, and I'm going to try and disbelieve it.
Funny enough, it does not, because you have to touch the item. And good luck figuring out which item it is. However,
You fucking swallowed it.
no. That would lead to a very awkward situation every
I thought you
day.
had to touch the illusion.
You do. In this case, though, the illusion effect is coming straight from this headband. This is an artifact level item, keep in mind. So this is a unique item. Yeah.
And when you touch me, I look at you like, what is going on?
It's a Prince Albert. I know it.
Captain, do you mind if I step outside and help the sailors?
This May's like poking him lightly all around, like lightly like jabbing their finger into
Yeah,
him.
make sure everybody's set and ready to set sail. We'll probably be heading out in the next couple hours.
Okay, I'll just check on the crew and the ship then as I walk out slightly
Everybody looking at
sideways.
him.
Yeah, I walk out sideways making sure no one's following to poke me more.
May, are you gonna follow him out to poke him more?
I'd like to telekinetically poke him as he leaves.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Not there!
As Floorsnap looks up and can confirm there's no Prince Albert.
Oh, I do want to turn to the captain and say, so, where does this bounty come from? I'd like to know my enemies beforehand.
Gasell looks at you and goes,
I would bet from where we came from.
okay, still side-eyeing War as he walks out the door, heading out, kind of closing it behind him as May kind of stops, just kind of watching him leave. As he steps out into the onto the ship, the door shutting, Gasell looks over at you and goes, the Golden Heart Merchant Company, head by Zarius, something of the sort. Well-known merchant, capable fighter, decent spokesman. He's supposedly gathering up slots, from my understanding. I don't know what he's doing with them, but there's been a bounty to collect them. He has an interest in them. And at 8 in sailor skill, okay. Water falls overboard in the background. You hear a lot of splash.
Shit.
No!
The cat is
Too
wet.
many pokes.
Did we... Or, sorry, I know, like, out of character, like, Zarius is mead man, sir. But did we... I thought we, like... Did we confirm that as Monday or no?
You haven't seen him. You know that but you did hear Meadmancer and or May, I think, confirmed that Meadmancer and Zarius were the same person because May's the one who figured out about the symbol being both people's symbol.
Yeah, because we also did like infiltrate in air quotes the fucking
yes
people.
But you guys didn't find out that they ran the Golden Heart Merchant Company. I think that what you learned is he ran a merchant company or took over a merchant company. So now you have the actual name.
Yeah. So when this guy says the name Zarius or whatever, I say, oh, Lord Maidmancer, you mean?
Oh, that proud.
Gilzo kind of looks at you and nods and goes, "Not to my knowledge, is he another name?" Kind of takes a second.
No, that's him. He's got this weird thing going on. I'm not gonna explain it to you because it's useful as leverage, and my mother, you know how she is. She'd be upset with me if I gave it away.
He nods at that and goes, "Unfortunately, I do." As he like lightly rubs his shoulder, kind of showing that there's some sort of old injury there. As he kind of like seems to adjust his arm a little bit. As he looks about the rest of you and goes, "Interesting. If that's the case, then your best bet is Diamond's death, which would be where he is. I've heard he's got another guest going that direction. He put an interest into someone. As he kind of looks over at Azurus, kind of waiting to see if Azurus will do anything. As he kind of like lightly smiles at him and gives him the knowing look, expecting a pay." Well, I
flick him a squiddy snack.
He looks at it down at his hand as it pops into his hand. He kind of puts it back on the table and goes, "It's sweet, but you can probably understand I don't eat in my old age much. Thank you."
Yeah, you got a spring chicken.
So he looks over.
Kraken meat.
And Royce,
Yes.
he's just asking for 60?
He is asking for the 60k gold in the for the payment of the raid, but he is looking over at you for the pay for more for this information.
Yes. What are you looking for?
Your friend is asking for information. I mean, it's only right as he switches to Aquan, it's only right we take care of one another when it comes to sharing information, but I am so old and growing so weary in my age. It takes so much money, cash and coin to keep the fires warm at night. As he looks over at you.
How? And of course, in Aquan. How about another $6,000 and a barrel from our dear cook of his fire whiskey?
Are you the guys who hired Karsek?
Yeah.
Kind of holds it. He spits in his hand and holds it up to you.
Yeah, shaking hands.
As you do, he kind of looks over at immediately over at Florstep and goes, "He's looking into this individual by the name of James of the Ironheart Merchant Company. Apparently, he's managed to make a deal with a small group of assassins who are slowly setting themselves up in the Snowbeard territories. My ear says that they are looking to assassinate all the higher nobles who refuse to work with them. My understanding, though, is he's having this individual's mother brought to his headquarters. My only guess, if you'll permit a little thinking here, is that he's probably doing it for the large bounty my former captain put on his head, alongside the head of the cousin. Or my understanding, her brother, or is the brother of the of James's mother, so probably something along the lines of getting him lured somewhere and bound to killing him. So if you could manage to, march in there, do something about it, figure out why the Slauds are dealing with that, and get her out, you could probably see a large payday."
First time, just kind of like mulls it over, like chewing a squiddy snack. He's like, "Yeah, I'm more interested in freeing my people."
I think they'll add a little butter to the biscuit, as you will, as he kind of smiles, looking at the food on the table. Kind of walking over to Azurus' plate and picking it up, really just helping himself as he starts taking a couple spoonfuls of the broth. He looks over at you and goes, "I also hear he's got around 70 or so Slod that are serving under him, some willingly, some less so. I hear he's even managed to get some from a group that caused some issues for Lithotara and her brew, having managed to keep knock down the caster from that group. And I'm not saying that that's an impressive feat, but a caster willing to take on a god in this day and age. Now, you can't tell me that's some brass and that he had sluds serving him. You gotta wonder.
I wonder. They have a slutty prince.
He nods and goes, there might be. Maybe there's one amongst them, maybe there's not. Kind of shrugs and goes, I don't know much more. I try to keep my nose out of the merchant company's business. As you take a moment to contemplate this for a second before, as Gazelle kind of looks about you, we're going to jump over for a moment to give him his moment. Wara, as you step out onto the ship, heading out onto the King's Mercy, the large Man o' War's deck, there are trolls and giants working amongst themselves. Wavescale seems to be kind of giving orders, commanding amongst the crew right now, acting as the first mate of the ship as the crew goes about getting the ship repaired and ready for sailing. Looking over the side, you can see the other ship is about not greatly put together, but they seem to have gotten the bottom bow smashed back together enough to where it looks like it'll float. As they seem to be prepping that ship as well to take off wherever you guys are going. What do you want to do as you kind of head out, seeing Wavescales giving orders to get the ship ready to sail?
I go over to Wavescales.
As you walk over, the tall dragonkin kind of looks at you and smiles as you step over and goes, couldn't stand enough the politicking, huh?
No, I couldn't stand the poking.
I imagine many dragonkin get poked a lot. My crew pokes me quite often.
It's annoying, isn't it?
He nods at that. He goes, you end up the hatchling of one weird dragon clan and no one lets you forget about it, and they all want to know how everything works.
Yeah, and one person makes one weird comment about your appearance and everyone else starts poking you.
He nods and goes, water. We dragons of the water have to stick together.
I just pinch the bridge of my nose and shake my head just slightly going, so, change of topic. What can I do to help? I don't want to be inside the captain's room anymore. I need to come out here and do something to actually be useful.
Well, you joined the hunt for Crump. The captain gave us an order. We had to find him before we set sail. Damn little bastard somewhere. I haven't been able to figure out where. Vicaret has said that if we manage
someone took the galley?
Yes, first place. I thought my second guess was he was with Vicaret. I figured she was trying to toss him overboard or tie him up to something and use him as an experiment. Nope, she hadn't seen him. Swore up and down. Oh, we're still digging around. I've got a couple of my crew in the water searching the depths, but so as far as I can figure, he's either been eaten or he's teleported.
And he's supposed to be on this ship.
This ship, my ship, and your ship, as he looks over at the red lady. The broken ship, as he looks over at the one they're kind of hammering together that's barely floating. Looks over at the West Wind Pirates crying last ship in the distance and kind of waves his head over there and goes, their ship? Shrugs and goes, I don't know. The captain just said he should be somewhere here. We're in the middle of the ocean. Where the hell else could he be?
Okay. I'll start looking for him.
Nods and goes, as you start to walk off, he goes, just a heads up, he's not in the alcohol section. We checked there first. 2 of my crew members got themselves drunk enough.
Understood. Thank you very much. As I walk to the bow of the ship, does it have one of those poles that goes really far out?
Yes, as well as a kind of a creature at the front that is 2 dragon heads kind of looking off to either side.
I tap on his shoulder. Just gonna walk the pole.
Shrugs and kind of goes back and nods at that as he goes back to kind of correcting one of the men's orders as they're beginning to unfurl the sails before the ship is supposed to move, kind of getting everything tightened back up quickly as the group inside feels a quick jolt and then the ship kind of coming to a stop again.
I straddle the pole and scoot all the way forward until I feel comfortable that it's not going to break or I can still straddle it comfortably.
Give me a balance check. As you kind of pull yourself out.
I'm actually good at.
Brothers on the bowsprit right now.
Is that what it's called? Hey, did you have to Google that
think
too?
So. No, I honestly, I'm just going based off of my memory. I think that's what it's called.
Say, man, I haven't touched a boat my entire life, and I don't ever want to. The ocean can kiss my ass. I'm good.
I understand.
Got an 18.
18. Alright, as you, easily managing to pull yourself out onto it, the pole, straddling it as you do, it's not too thin, thankfully. For the most part, you're able to walk it almost comfortably until you get to the very end of it. As you do, kind of getting down, getting your either leg on either side, as you kind of look about. Are you just, I assume, going to be looking down towards the front piece?
You assumed wrong.
Oh, what are you thinking?
I put my hands together,
Uh-huh.
lightly tilt my head back, and yell at the top of my lungs, "Crump! I want to have a drink with you!" And then I just turn around and start scooting back.
Alright, give me a fortitude check. Let's see what you got.
A fortitude check?
Yeah, see how loud you are. This is how loud you can scream, and it's the closest thing I have. So fortitude works. 28. As you bellow this out, it carries on the wind heavily. Everyone hears this, even within the ship. As you shout this up, almost this loud roar. And as you kind of stand, as the thing kind of, or as you roar this out, a moment later, the crew kind of almost absolutely silent. Everyone kind of looking up towards you, as they hear this. And as you kind of pop, are you going to be popping back onto the ship's main deck, or are you going to stay on the pole for a second?
Nope, I'm just going to start scooting back, and then once I'm able to stand, I start walking back.
As you start walking back, we'll come back to this in a minute. As we jump back to the rest of the party inside the cabin, as you hear the shout for Crump, I want to have a drink with you, come from the distance, Gazelle kind of looks over as he's in the middle of explaining his theory on the Golden Heart Merchant Company, and he looks back and goes, What's a Crump?
Conald K. Crump. He's my first mate.
Small cat person, about this tall. Severe brain damage.
He looks at you, Azurus, and is wide-eyed and goes, So you've got the daughter of an apex beast, the vampire lord himself, an ancient slod. Who did you make a deal with?
Well,
Who hasn't he made a deal with at this point, really?
honestly, a lot of it's just luck.
Gazelle then looks over May at that and then looks back over at you and then goes, Oh, you're stupid! Oh, I'm so sorry. You assume that these packs are luck. No, when you make deals with these individuals, you're selling, like, your soul to them. You know that, like, when you sign their paperwork, you're selling your soul. It's not, we Jin only, if we're the ones who create the contract, then we get a piece of them.
Yeah, I'm the one who's making the contracts.
Looks at you and then looks over at, kind of seeing the seriousness in your face, and looks over at the slod, the ancient slod, at the daughter of an apex monster, and looks back and goes, No, really, like, I understand you made the mess up, I understand, but
No,
it's a common mistake for young Jin.
and I never made a contract with those two. They're just here.
Oh yeah,
We
we're
wouldn't
just
say
looking
I
for
sign it. First off, it'd be a bad idea to have him sign his actual name on anything. Second off, I don't sign contracts. I'll do verbal contracts. You know, it's kind of our thing.
Yeah, I think the only people who aren't under like actual contract are War and these two. Everybody else, like Crump, I had him sign a contract.
Gazelle just looks at you and goes, Are you fucking them?
No.
Kind of looks at you again, as Urson just goes, You need to teach me whatever charm spell you've learned, young man, because this is not heard of amongst our peoples.
There are no charm spells in existence. What can work on me that I know of?
I can only imagine I was just in the right place at the right time.
I can get
They
you
needed
a
a job, and I was hiring.
Wait. Looks at you and goes,
The
"Your
other
work.
guy required me to sign a contract.
You
I can go fuck right off.
kind of takes that for a note, pausing, and then continues and then goes, "You are saying this was like fate, and you're working with one of the Morans. Oh, I'm so sorry." Kind of takes a step back and goes, I understand. I apologize for any inconvenience on this situation. I wish you all the best of of whatever fate you end up falling into. And as he starts to slowly back away towards the door, I would recommend when you run into one of the swords, mention that you work for the Moran of Fate. That should kind of claps the doorknob and like starts to crack it open. Really help your situation as he like slowly pulls himself out and like closes the door. Shouts there and goes, "Good luck." And
Do you want a slot of your own?
As you say that, you hear running footsteps as almost immediately, Wara, as you're climbing off the beam, looking over, you see as Giselle now looks pale and fearful as he is running off the ship, climbing into the air and walking on thin air.
Yeah, guys, I think we're doing pretty good for ourselves. Wait, did he take his money with him?
Oh, he did not. He did take...
Well, I guess if he ever comes back, we'll make sure he... Well, actually, never mind. Yeah, we'll send him a barrel at some point.
Oh, here, I've got this. And I just fucking yeet money to his ship.
She kind of walk towards the door, look out, see the ship beginning to like start to unfurl its sails, taking a moment, aiming. Give me a D20.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
just gonna telekinesis chuck it.
Oh, okay. Puts his finger up in the air to like aim. You can see he's like you see a Florstep like tests what direction the air is going as he kind of like nods to it and then just chucks it and then you watch as it makes like a foot in front of him and then begins to just rocket off, launching towards him. As it seems to land, smacking into the beam, you can hear the thud from here. It makes it there before he makes it to the ship.
Well, hey, at least he's paid.
I look at Forstap really quickly and go, so who said what to scare him?
Oh, no.
I honestly have no idea. Something about fate or something.
He seemed pretty shocked that I was the daughter of Vitra.
Yeah, I'm also shocked. You're a fucking hag?
Wave scales, you hear now in the over by the beam goes, "You're the daughter of Vitra?" The crew just pauses. Good.
It's not exactly something I've been hiding.
What do you mean?
She eats hearts. You didn't put it together.
A lot of things eat hearts.
And why would you be so rude, Captain, and call May a hag? That's rude.
Oh, I am a hag.
That is the species, Wara.
Oh, okay.
I mean, technically, if you go back far enough, we're actually like half of some kind of weird fucking faith celestial thing.
Yeah, I thought you were an Eladrin.
Oh yeah, that's the one. But because of the way hags work, we only get like some of their power, and then we're just fully hags.
Wave Scales looks over and goes, "Wait, you thought she was a You know, Captain, those aren't real things in the world." As he looks over at May, so May continues. Sorry, go ahead, May.
Oh yeah, the Fiera Ladrin, they use, from what I understand, and take this with a grain of salt, because, again, my mother sometimes just makes up wild tales to fuck with people, and her daughters are not immune to that, but the Fire Ladrin were a species of Eladrin that had immeasurable ties to fire magic. Well, my mother, my mother stated that through an intense ritual, they all became, what's the word that I'm looking for? A part of her.
I just like make like the ring finger and like put the index finger and just like put it in and out of the end.
Hey, come on! Floor
It's
snap.
just in the background. Floor Snap's doing this while Zer's like having this serious conversation with May.
Her original coven, the one that she had before she started going around popping out kids, was her and the rest of the Faraladrin, who had absorbed all of their underlings and become a council of what was it? I want to say 9. There were 9 of them total, with my mother at the head. And then they got hag busted. Like a bunch of other fuckers came in and killed them all except for my mom, because it's basically impossible to kill Vitra. Well, again, would not recommend trying to fuck with her. I don't know if I made it abundantly clear, but she was sent to Abaddon, and she's back.
I miss old politics.
I never thought I'd have a hag on my vessel.
As you take a second, May, give me a, let's call it a survival check.
Oh boy.
I'll take survival or knowledge nature in this situation, depending on which is higher, but I feel survival, I'll give it a lower DC for that.
Survival it is.
Okay.
Because I'm rolling flat wisdom or flat, well, hold on.
Oh,
Yeah,
After I
flat
whisper
wisdom
in the
or
captain's
flat,
ear, I go downstairs.
got you.
it's either flat wisdom or flat intelligence, and my wisdom is very slightly higher.
Okay.
Hey, 21.
21. As you kind of notice something, suddenly notice, Azurus has a hag bloodline to him, or something. Because there's, as you kind of start to pick up, he's got something that you realize is familiar to a hag coven. It could be he is a hag bloodline himself, meaning someone who descends from someone who was supposed to turn into a hag, or was a hag, or he could be a hag spawn. It's kind of hard to tell.
Aye. Wait a second, now that I get a good look at you. You're also a hag, Ken. Oh, I thought you were one of those elemental fuckers.
I am a djinn, but I had the misfortune of being raised by hags. You
Misfortune.
see, the way that djinn work, similar to that of a cuckoo bird, I believe. Our kind are replaced with others. And so, instead of a hag giving birth to another hag, or I was essentially replaced. And so I was born instead of their regular child, but due to djinn magics, they saw me as one of them.
Right.
And so I'm not sure if what your experience being raised in a hag covenant, but as a man being raised, it wasn't the most pleasant of experiences.
Well, it really depends on the hag group, but
Sea hags.
ugh.
As you kind of think for a second, May, you realize probably what happened here, a general idea of it would be with that roll from earlier. He most likely, when he is probably a hag bloodline, was born to directly born to a hag. However, what probably happened is at 13, instead of what would normally happen, turning to a full-blown hag and joining the coven in a sense, which would be most often the case, he turned into a djinn. Which basically means that, in a sense, that whoever was his coven mother probably had a really big surprise in that day.
Oh, I see. Now, there's my mother and I. We have many disagreements. But I am technically oath-bound to follow through with some things that she views as important. Now, you wouldn't happen to be willing to tell me what the coven was that raised you and treated you so poorly, would you? Vitra, my mother, has a moratorium against hags which are abusive to their children overtly so. So if they were above and beyond cruel to you, I would very much like to know. Insofar as that I have to figure it out and do something about it or my skin will fall off.
It was only about a little more than 700 years ago since was in that coven. At 13 and the whole deal, I essentially got the boot. It was some sea hag coven. I never really knew the name. They didn't really tell me much.
Mm.
I barely knew anybody's name.
Yeah, that'd probably qualify. Well, I don't know.
You kind of think there's only one hag coven that's been around that long that has had power amongst the Sea Hags, and that is the Golden Kraken coven. Basically, general gist to catch you up: small hag covens will pop up, but none will claim much power compared to the main covens, which are like Vitra's coven, the Sea Hag of the Golden Kraken, and like Granny Apples. Those are titles that are handed down by one of the 13 first daughters of the Hag Queen. Which lore being recently established, of course.
Yeah. Did the word Golden Kraken mean anything to you?
Squiddy snacks?
No, I don't want a squiddy snack.
Oh no, that's just what it means to me.
Oh, it might. I mean, there was, small little yellow, like squid octopus as like heraldry here and there, but I mean they might be. However, if I saw them again, I'd know their faces.
Well, I have good news. It appears as though my mother's meddling is the reason why I'm with your crew. We are probably on our way to doing some part of her bidding. This is why I don't get along with my mother, by the way. You don't understand. So, a peasant could be talking to her about his fucking dreams, right? It's just a random peasant. Like, just picture some bumfuck fucking frost giant, like, dirt farmer, growing their fucking weird potatoes or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I call them weird potatoes because they're not potatoes. I know what a potato is. But anyways, growing those things they call potatoes that aren't potatoes. And he has this dream about fucking a sheep. And he's telling me, mother, about this dream about fucking sheep.
Uh-huh.
Now, the sheep that's in his dream is a sheep that he knows, that he's encountered before. This sheep's dad was owned by the king of the Frost Giant country. Because of that connection, Vitra can accurately guesstimate what the king of that country might do in a given situation if the puzzle pieces fall just right. And then she can sit there and nudge it. Do you understand how fucked up that is?
As May starts to go into like multiple examples, we're gonna jump away for a second. As Azuris just looks like he's just trying to politely like nod along, listening, but not really fully, as he's like watching Floor Snap eating the snacks behind, making more weird hand gestures to kind of emphasize the points.
I'm glad he's happy. If someone's...
We're gonna jump over really quickly. Wara, as you head down below deck, as you mentioned, let's jump over to you. As you kind of hear the distance above deck of May kind of explaining to Captain Azuris of another like dream that some random farmer with now some weird apricot thing that they go on about. As you hear this beginning, kind of going into the conversation, knowing this might actually be important to you, but as you kind of step away, looking around, heading down to the galley, what do you want to do?
Head over to Krask.
Alright, yeah, as you head over, you see as Kresk is currently over a large ton barrel that seems to be boiling as he is stirring a large spoon, kind of standing on a step ladder as he does this. A couple of trolls standing on the side waiting at what looks to be faucets to turn them at a certain point.
Hey ho, Krask, how goes it?
He looks down and he goes, I haven't been able to feel my arms in about days at this point, and the liquor has fought me all night. But otherwise, the world isn't ending and our liquor didn't spill. It's a good day.
Do you mind if I grab Crump and my mug and fill it with our daily allotment of alcohol, and then once I'm done with Crump, I'll assist you?
Sure. I'm surprised after seeing the little bastard go overboard, he managed to get back on.
Ah, fuck.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he went chasing after you. From what I saw him grab your leg as you guys went over onto the ship, and then from the little window, as he points over to the little window that's kind of carved in. The ship of the King's Mercy has a couple of small King's End, sorry, has a couple of windows. But as he points over, you can see he's looking pointing over to the one window that was set up for the cook, and he goes, through the window, it went right through. He clapped onto your leg, it looked like, when you were flying over. And I saw him drop into the water.
Okay, and you didn't see him come back up with me on this ship?
No. But, I mean, I'll be honest, I stopped paying attention at that point as the captain was panicking and telling us to move, so I had to secure the alcohol.
Okay,
God.
I'm just gonna fill the alcohol mugs and have a seat at the table. Hopefully, my call to him will get him here shortly.
Oh, if you want to summon him, the best way to do it, kind of climbs down as one of the trolls quickly climbs up to grab the spoon and keep stirring. He kind of ignores the whole thing, leans down under one of the cabinets and pulls out what looks to be a very weird looking wooden bed, and it's almost like a chest, but with no lid. Kind of brings it over to you and goes, set this out next to you and give it an hour. If he's dead, he'll reappear in that probably.
Okay, thank you. As I fill both mugs, grab the chest, go over to the end of a table, put the chest down, a mug in front of it, and then my mug there, and I just sit and wait.
Okay.
Oh,
As
man,
you
I
wait.
have to break an artifact to kill him.
May I respect it? I do respect it.
That would be Vicarette, like, thinking that.
That's fair. As we jump back over, though, as Wara begins to kind of wait, sitting there looking down at the chest, kind of waiting with his drink filled, May, as you kind of finish up, at this point, the fifth explanation of another random situation where some dream helped out for something that surprisingly predicted the future and allowed Vitra to survive and prosper. Azurus at this point is barely looking like he is paying attention. His eyelids are half closed, kind of looking on at this, trying to be polite as he stands there.
Yeah.
I begin doing an interpretive dance of what May is narrating.
Actually, that's actually the thing that keeps me awake. It's Floor Snap's interpretive dance.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, roll for your dance in the background.
It's weird how it squiggles your brain.
I know. It's like May is like trying to explain something, and there's little bits that you don't realize in this that you don't catch that are really important to your guys' future, and May is trying to emphasize them, but gives up as she realizes you're not listening.
It kind of.
Go ahead.
It's funny, but if Floor Snap rolls well enough on his dance, we might just get there.
14.
It kind of reminds me of when Wara starts talking about embroidery.
Yeah. As you kind of start to go on for a second, looking on.
Did I give her before? No. If it makes it any better, I do have a +2 charisma modifier, so
yeah,
it's not entirely boring.
It's not that it's boring. It's just a lot of information for Azurus.
Yeah, it is just like an autistic discharge, basically.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're like
it's not. Like, we've been through a lot. Like, there was a whole fight and then 8 hours of working. I'm fucking tired.
Yeah, you just went through a huge fight. Well, not for May death-defying. For Azurus, he literally saw Wara go down and watched his crew get knocked off the ship. Like, this was not
I've lost 5 of my original 20 crew.
Yeah, so thank you for mentioning that, by the way, because I fully forgot that.
Hey, speaking of important things being lost, I did retrieve my giant bones. Don't worry.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, okay, absolutely. Good to know.
Yes, a little splintered and cracked here, but they still work.
Well,
But
they've held up a giant. They better be fucking sturdy, damn it.
as May kind of finished up explaining this, Azurus, basically you get the gist that, yeah, Vitra can, from very little gist of information, from random peasants or individuals that she meets, seems to be able to ordain information that will give her a good or bad omen for a direction of what the future will be. It's not necessarily a perfect future telling, but it's a general enough to recognize the signals for which way it's going. So it's like, say, if this did succeed or if this failed, so...
Well, I guess if I ever have a weird dream, I could always talk to you. At least your mother will hear it if I do.
The other thing that I can tell you is that if Vitra crosses any place that you have ever been before, and she wants to know about you, she can, as long as she knows when you cross that location, like the date, like say within a week, she can track you unerringly backwards and forwards from that point.
Oh, God damn these. Oh, why is there so many people out there that can do cool shit?
Joke's on her. I don't know where I went most places.
Yeah, it's not a matter of you know where you went, it's a matter of they know where you were.
I think you might be the one person my mother would have trouble tracking, Floor Snap. Just because of how long your life has been, I don't think she'd be willing to spend a century just to figure out where you came from.
Well, she could always just figure out where we've been.
Yeah. It wouldn't take her too long. But like I said, she's not currently on this plane of existence. She's the connection with her currently is severed.
She can't see what you're doing right now.
Quick,
That's
let's have a party.
relative, but yeah, basically. There's no way for me to... The issue comes when, if she pokes her head back in, all the gaps in information, it just gets filled in, you know?
God, I hope she doesn't poke her head back in.
I mean, that would require her to be permanently sealed in another plane of existence, which, if it was going to happen, Abaddon was going to be the place that did it. She got out of that.
Yeah, I will also note that the fact that she spurred on an organization that has had the willingness to publish information that goes against the Collective, this is the first time in history that this has happened. The Collective has always been the information network. Really gives an idea that Vitra is the ultimate rebel queen, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get a map off those sword people. That'd be sick. Being able to figure out an island that most people don't know about would be pretty fucking awesome.
Aye. Something to note. The guy that we just scared off just by talking about very boring things. He said those islands have a tendency to like not be able to hold very much weight, and then they sink under the ocean and stuff like that. That makes it sound like they're somewhat mobile. We could probably grab a whole fuckload of them, tie them together. That way it can hold more weight. Or we could fortify one of them against the sinking under the water. That'd be pretty cool. I heard Vikra talking about something like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I was thinking about that. Maybe even if we only do get one, strapping a whole bunch of buoys and flotation devices on it.
Aye. Or enchanting the fuck out of it.
That's also possible, but if they are a living being, probably it'd be good to get on its good graces first.
Aye. The good news is that if we have a strong enough source of magic on one of these islands, the Golden Kraken Coven will come knocking. They have this kind of weird thing about that, wanting to control all magic in their territory.
Oh, yeah, I fucking hate them.
Oi. I'll tell you what. If you seem to hate them pretty thoroughly, I have kind of an objective involving them at this point. I want to eat their hearts. That's it. That's where I'm
That's it?
going with that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, yeah. You're good. You're good. Yeah, you can take them all.
As we take a
Okay,
second
yeah.
to contemplate that, we're going to take a quick pause break here for a moment, only because I need to step away real quick. Because I'm getting a phone call from something. So we will be right back in a moment. Alright, as we return back, thank you all for that quick moment of break while we all went to grab stuff. Yes, so as we return as Zurus, as you kind of contemplate the island thing, as May kind of explains the idea of tying the islands together after hearing it mumbles from Vitra down below. Not Vitra, sorry, Vicaret. My apologies. That would be much more scary if you started hearing whispers from Vitra. Like, oh, okay, so she's on board. Good news, that's the rest of the session for this. We're starting combat next session. But no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. As
It's over.
As kind of hearing this and kind of contemplating it between the two of you, I mean, it's an idea. However, as you kind of think these, you probably have to discover what kind of creatures these are. The only creature that kind of comes to mind immediately is the legendary individual that's become more known globally, known as Tun-Tun, or Tunathy Tumberton, the Zoraton of the Tumberton bloodline, as there are multiple giant Zoraton that have started popping up.
Man, that's crazy.
I know.
It's kind of funny that no one who knows Tauntaun is still in this fucking still in Cryptic Cabal.
Well, yeah, Vicaret knew of Tun-Tun.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yep. But as the three of you kind of stand on the top deck, kind of thinking about this, the signs still no Crump. The crew kind of going about, Wavescale still staring in awe over at May about the whole fact that she is Vitra's daughter. Staring at the red glowing hair, as much of the crew is still also doing so. And the almost awkward silence even for the other broken ship that had, just moments before you had this conversation started, had much hammering coming from it. Now it seems to be completely silent as the entire crew and almost seemingly the ocean is listening in.
So who wants to help me kill Mutimancer?
Oh, it's listen, man. I appreciate the sauce that you've got cooking right now. However, that's not going to be on our list at any time soon. But I'll certainly do it when we get there. Because he seems like a fun person to fight.
He probably has a very nice ship.
Probably. Now that we're done with all this and we're about to make sail, one last thing we need to talk about is whether we're going to continue going to the Genasi territory, or if we're going to head over to and redirect to the Crystal Giants.
Well, I'm fine with either.
Because there's nothing really there for us over in the Genasi territory, except for a place that we just haven't been before to see what's up. Or we can go over to the Crystal Giants and see what we can figure out about this heist we gotta pull.
Why?
So all of your opinions would be very nice. I am asking for them. Please give them to me.
Begins to kind of like walk down below to the galley looking for Wara as the two of you kind of follow after him.
Just a real quick question. Crystal Giants, they got like any kind of bloodline magics of any kind? You know, like let's say if I were to eat their heart, would it? They got anything spicy going on?
So
I've never seen a crystal giant. I couldn't tell you. For all I know, they're just rocks, but I doubt that's the case.
Never eaten a rock before. Never eaten a rock heart before.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we got some rocks around here. You want to eat a catapult ammunition?
I will say, May, as you kind of like envision a little like thought bubble above your head, the first thing that comes to mind is like salt is a rock. Maybe it's like a seasoning you could put on something else.
Yeah, you could boil them.
The 3 rock soup.
Oh God, I remember that song in elementary school. I hated that song so much. Rock, never forget rock soup. But as you kind of head down, the kind of seeing Wara sitting at a table by himself, the rest of the crew still just silent listening as you walk in, make kind of contemplation on the rock thing. Floor Snap kind of just following you as he continues to eat his squiddy snacks from this like little what looks to be leather bag that he's seemed to pick up. On the bottom of it, very greasy, as you can kind of see as the three of you head over to the table. Wara's sitting there, his glass still full with what looks to be a dark cinnamon liquid. Another glass off to the side, and then what looks to be an open chest with a bed in it, just kind of sitting there as you three kind of take your seats. The Meadmancer wanted poster kind of being sat on the table, the map kind of being sat out of Cricket to kind of show where the Genasi are comparatively to the Crystal Giants, and then the little book from the Collective of Pyrus that the party has managed to find of the recent lore, kind of in the captain's quarters.
And as I sat there getting bored, I started slowly scratching on the side of the chest.
As you look over, you can see 3 minutes of nothing. Just kind of, and it looks like every few moments it slowly gets scratched, or it's been scratched out. There's a 1 that was there, it's been scratched out. The 2 slowly got turned into a 3.
Laura, what are you doing sitting with a empty padded chest? I thought you were doing something.
You wanted me to help find Crump, so that's what I'm doing.
You're helping to find Crump by sitting and drinking.
Oh, it might
Well,
be
I haven't
time
had
for you to
anything for my drink yet, but yeah, I'm waiting.
From what I understand of Crump, it's not an entirely flawed method of trying to get his attention.
Well, I mean, he's got to be somewhere on these ships. Like, what's going on? How have you not found him yet?
Azurish, you get the sense that May is implying that that's a cat box. At least that's my understanding of what you're trying to imply there, May. Am I misreading that?
There's layers.
Yeah, okay.
Crump is a drunk, so offering alcohol would summon him, because we heard Wara do that.
Yeah.
Second off, cat box.
Okay, cool. So there's 2 there. All right, yeah, fair enough. So yeah, there's fucked up, and then there's, well, hey, he is a drunk.
The first off is racism. Next.
Well, to be fair, that one actually is kind of accurate as you think about it.
I've been called a racist many times, but a liar was not one of them.
A drunk? Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know how sitting here with his bed, never seen him sleep in that before, would do anything, but I'm also thirsty and hungry and ready to drink to remember our fallen comrades today.
Someone died?
Here.
We lost 5 men on our side, and who knows how many on the Frost Giants. We've all lost some folk today.
Oh, I didn't lose anyone.
You didn't make anyone either.
Said what?
You didn't make anyone either.
I can fix that.
We know.
Don't encourage him!
In the distance, Gasell is now realizing why this crew signed on and did not have to sign a contract. It's because they give the captain a headache.
It's kind of interesting. I waited until the other crew was gone far enough, because I understand that you appear to like them, Captain Azurus, but I am slightly thankful to some extent, though a little disheartened, that you didn't simply just convince the coins to go up to the other ship.
Say that again? Something must not have come across in translation here.
Oh no. Have you ever seen Floor Snap try and convince an inanimate object to do something with his voice?
Never mind. Listen, I wanted to keep as much stuff as possible. If Floor Snap used his little talking ability, I'm certain I would have lost a whole lot more than gained.
This is not an ability.
It's an ability.
I can speak a language.
Yeah, I can too, but my language doesn't turn
unalive things alive.
Your language is weak, unsophisticated. He doesn't even have snakes for blood.
What are you? You have snakes for blood.
Yes. I like cut my wrist. See? Snakes.
As you watch a snake fall out of his wrist.
That can't be healthy.
Perfectly healthy.
The snake
I don't
immediately
believe that.
withers up into a blackened husk and burns away to ash before it dissipates into the air.
You know,
What are you?
what's funnier about that, by the way, is the fact that the last time he did this little gag, he said, what was it? Was it ants? Spiders? Some kind of bug. Anyways, it changes. His blood changes.
Blood. Blood. It's whatever I want it to be. That's how blood works.
No, it's not how blood works, Snap.
Weak blood doesn't.
That's how your blood works.
No, with the old wizard's eyes closed to just a slither and looks on him.
I can promise you, everybody else's blood. You know what? I'm not gonna say everybody. Most of the people's blood on this ship all works the same, except for yours.
Yeah, you should see what the prince's blood does.
I don't think I want to.
It was amazing. An entire other person popped out. Had
Good
like
God.
a half-life. He went from like young baby to old man in like the span of like a second. It was insane.
College
Yeah.
education, a wife, a kids, a car, a mortgage.
Good God. Yeah, no, I think I'm all right.
All right, I should probably. I'm gonna create a bubble of water. I'm gonna purify the water, and then I'm gonna drop the water on the pile of ash, and I'm just gonna keep doing that until it's gone.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna point to one of the trolls and be like, "Oi, grab your shittiest, most nasty rag and wipe that up, and then throw the rag overboard, and don't ever think about it again."
Troll kind of nods at that, looking at you in a little bit of concern, but seems to hop to without question as he kind of sees you're sitting with the captain. There's a map on the table, a wanted poster, and a really thick book that's open, and just kind of getting the understanding something's being planned. He kind of goes immediately to his work, kind of grabs it and does that as he runs off up to above deck.
All right. Well, now that we've got all that sorted in, I'm pretty sure I have a migraine now. Please, opinions on whether we go to the Primordial, the Genasi, or if we head over to the Crystal Giants.
I'll make you.
I
I will
shrug.
be slightly more agreeable if we eventually go after Meadmancer.
Huh? What?
That would be slightly more agreeable.
We're not going after Meatmaster right now.
I said eventually.
Oh yeah, eventually. But that's not what we're talking about right now.
I know. I just
Alright.
want it on the books.
It's in the books, buddy.
Alrighty.
Roughly, here's a map of roughly what you're looking at, of where you're going to be going. Ignore the little dots, because those are arcane inflections of the art and the times.
Yeah, I gotcha. So the circle in the ocean's where we're at, and the northern-ish circle is the Genasi, and the most southernmost to the right circle is the Crystal Giants.
Yep.
It's a Crystal Giants.
Crystal.
I will say, going towards the Crystal Giants does take you closer towards Draffica, which takes you towards Greg's Tom's land and his capital, where the Golden Hearts set up, which is where Meadmancer's headquarters should be.
We could totally rob them.
No, listen. Honestly,
What kind of pirate are you?
Well, pirate who wants to live.
As you think back, Floor Snap, to the horrendous demon pirates going around raiding cities, vanquishing, trying to take on demon lords and stuff like that, and you look at the Azurus and see this guy's kind of small in comparison. He's young.
I'm not there yet. I'm only 700. Damn it.
I know you're. I don't understand how you're able to walk yet. It's fascinating.
You know what? I've been saying I'm over 700. I'm actually like 567. I've been mixing up my ages, but you know what? I'm now over 700 years old. That's just why we're gonna rock and roll now.
Azurus making himself ancient.
Yep. Yeah, I'm fucking 700.
I look at Force Snap. I'm 27.
I just look at you as like,
Oh,
You're the same age
That's-
as most of my food.
that's honestly that before I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? But now I get it.
Listen, guys, let's cool it with the speciesism age-wise. All right, let's let's calm it down a little bit.
This crest cat comes over, sets some horns down,
I
and
mean,
kind of gives some dirty looks to Floor Snap and May as he hands stuff out and then goes back to his drinks.
I just eventually would like to go to the Dark Continent.
That might hopefully if we get this job done for that Morin guy, we might get some information about that.
Oh, that certain death is fine, but the rest, oh no. Can't do that.
Listen, the information is to hopefully figure out a safe way to get there and settle there. That's the goal. At least a safer way.
Yeah, I need to kill Morin.
Oh, which one? There are like 6 of them.
Yeah, there's like a couple of them now.
Yes.
So why do you need to kill the Morins, especially since I'm trying to make deals with them?
I was told that they're going to be the cause that's going to destroy the world, and I need to kill them before they can do that.
I feel like that title can go to a lot of people.
That's what I was told. I don't know anything else.
Who told you that?
Quit bullying the young child.
Hey, listen, I'm young comparatively as well, alright?
Hey, you're both
Some
swaddling babes.
sparkly being.
A big sparkly being. You know,
No, not
you know what?
necessarily big, but sparkly. Yes.
Gotcha. You know, if you've had a moment with a deity, maybe it is just best that we don't go to the Genasi lands. I don't want anything to seep off you and then figure it out.
I will note, Captain Azuris, you did see Wara go down, and it was not in a pleasant manner. He got beaten down hard, so kind of keeping in mind that, and then he just popped up, like nothing happened. So keeping that in mind, there's a good chance he may have a pretty bad concussion, but secondly, yeah, as you kind of think about it, most likely he probably got raised by a god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that all you figured out from your little, when you were taking a little nap on board this vessel earlier? That just a sparkly being told you the Morins were bad folk?
Oh,
I didn't know I was taking a
touch one
nap.
of those. You didn't touch one of those wands, did you?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I heard if you touch
Yeah.
your wand too much, you'll go blind.
I'm just asking, because, like,
I look in my pockets. I don't have any wands.
well,
sorry
I
to
know
hear
I meant
that.
when you fell over and got knocked out.
Oh, that. Yeah. It was after that that I saw the sparkly being.
What, did he just say that the Morins were bad? Or did he say anything else?
That's how I get redeemed. Is I need to kill the Morins.
I will mention, while may not have a full grasp of the Morins due to Vitra's probably less than interested investment for how ancient this household is, to Floor Snap, to kind of note that that would be, to your own knowledge, roughly as an equivalent. These are the same individuals that, from your knowledge, one of them, you don't know which one of the members of the family took on a lawbearer, or what was the title of a Beyond God, and killed it. Then was locked away and as in penance, basically chained to be a servant to whoever bought them for the rest of their life. So this is not like a house you just go and walk up and smack around. This is these individuals are basically the equivalent of demigods for the most part, big movers from any age.
Oh, man.
Just gotta like frown, like kind of like clap Laura on like the shoulder sympathetically and say, "Yeah, the gods are pissing on you."
Needmancer is more attainable than those guys.
Don't the gods piss on everyone?
Oh, generally that's why we started killing them.
Eh. Well, this is what I was told. Whether I actually do it or not, I guess that's my choice.
We'll see where we go down the line. I've got no quarrels with the, the Morns right now, but things can change.
I'm not just going to kill someone who's named Morin just on the spot.
That's good.
I learned my lesson back where we were.
Hey, May, don't worry. Someone already accidentally did it Saturday. Got screwed up for that and wasted their one wish from a powerful being on a really stupid thing.
Oh damn.
As War kind of mentions this though, as you look at the map, seeing or with Floorsnap having voted for the Crystal Giants, and Captain Azura seemingly voted for the same. Wara and May, you're the last two left to vote as Captain Azura kind of looks over to you for your what your kind of point of view is on the situation.
I asked to go to the lands we just came from, so I think my vote is null and void for right now. And also, I really don't care.
No, you still get it. You get a say. Come on.
Yeah, I
I
just
still want to.
honestly,
I want to hear your fucking opinion.
Can we go back to the lands we came from so I can kill people?
No.
Okay, there you go. There's my vote.
It's alright, my vote was to go kill Beard Man, sir.
Well, I'm gonna vote for the Crystal Giants for one reason and one reason alone. You can't really eat a Ganassi's heart, you know? Like, there's ways to do it, but it takes so much prep that it's not worth it. You kill the fuckers, you peel them open, and then suddenly, oh, its heart was there. Ooh. Sons of bitches.
Yes, you see May kind of like air motions with her hands, like the design of like peeling a banana. And like she's explaining this and giving kind of a horrendous visual. I will mention they do have elemental hearts, and also as you look in the book, just because you guys do have a book from the Collective of Pyrus, Crystal Giants do have hearts, but they are noted to have actual crystal skin, so their skin is very fragile. Though, as you look at what makes them special is that they all seem to have an affinity for monsters, and their highest ranked member, their leader, which I think is Pippin, he is known to tame lesser apex monsters.
Interesting.
Call it a
We
draw.
might- We might find some beasts of burden there.
I might get more squiddy snacks.
Okay. More squiddy snacks.
You see Floorsnap pulls out another chunk of the fried kraken and kind of chews on it.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good as the old Olithid recipe, but it's growing on me.
You see, as
look
he
at it.
Floorsnap kind of lightly mentioning it, it seems a little bit quieter. You see Karesk is glaring over at your table with a fury as they cook in the kitchen.
You know, sometimes I wish you didn't have the ability to speak for Snap. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You hear in the distance Karesk go, and I wish you had some damn taste buds too, as he shouts this in both Dwarvish and Common.
At the same time.
No, interchanging it, like
Can't hear you,
kind of
young
like
man.
Spanglish. As he say that thing, you see as he just humps, turns around, and goes back to viciously flipping something in the pan.
Listen, man, don't talk to my cook like that. He's a very valued member of my crew. Honestly, he's worth a lot to me.
I called him a young man. What do
Listen, hey, listen, you know, to his race, he's not a young man, all right?
You're all young.
To you?
Yes.
I mean,
The
I'm
world
still
is young compared to you.
Which part? Sorry, my hearing went out.
The world is young compared to you.
Oh, not the whole thing. Just the parts that,
As he like starts looking at the map and like drawing like all the continents except for the North Pole and the South Pole, and like all this.
Also the gods. Those are relatively new.
Yeah, I'm done with your past talk. Let's set sail. Fuck.
As you look over the map, kind of agreeing as you kind of take a drink, agreeing to set sail to the Crystal Giant Lands, looking at the cities and kind of beginning to figure out the easiest route to get to one of the larger cities further inland. Almost immediately as you finish kind of taking that sip and cheersing, you see as Crump appears in the bed and goes, like in a panic, kind of sits up and goes, What? He looks over at you a lot and goes, Captain, as he jumps across the table and just wraps his arms around Captain Azurus.
My God, Crump, what the fuck happened to you? Where were you?
He just starts kissing your cheek viciously as he does this, and I can't. As he continues doing this, and finally lets you go and looks you in the eyes and goes, Captain, he took me with him. He said if we went to the Genasi lands, I was gonna die. He said he'd chop off my large hands.
Who?
What? Him, the one with the golden eyes.
Oh, the Morin.
Oh, you mean the captain of the other vessel?
No,
I
Captain.
thought he had golden eyes.
He did have golden eyes.
Ah, fuck.
You've been set up as you start to realize. As you kind of realize that Crump was stolen from you as a hostage in case you decide to go somewhere else. Kind of putting two and two together, Azurus, you start to realize the Morans don't seem to play around. You are now a pawn in a much larger game, it seems.
God! Ah! Shit! Well, I was gonna do it anyway, but damn it!
And as you kind of swear, looking down at the map, Crump looking about.
Captain.
Go ahead.
Captain.
Yeah.
I found Crump. As I grab Crump's mug and hand it to him, here you go, Crump. I'll be upstairs telling Wave Scales we found Crump. As
So,
I grab my mug and start walking away.
how'd you end up in that weird little coffin thing?
Oh, and I grab the coffin and give it back to Krask.
As you walk over, then heading up. As you start to step away, Crump shakingly takes the drink and starts kind of drinking on it and tips it up, chugging the thing, and looks over at you, May, as he kind of lightly coughs out a bit and looks up and goes, Father makes all of us sleep in it, as he wipes his face. That must be the strongest alcohol, because, man, only the strongest alcohol could make a Crump feel this good. As he looks up at you, he goes, Captain, have I ever said I am happy to see you?
I think you should say it again.
Captain, you are the second best person to see. Behind myself, you are the second best person to see alive in these days.
You know what? I'll take it, Crumb. Good to have you back.
And climbs down as he kind of lightly waddles from either side, going to the bed, and goes, Also, that bed was always amongst the captain's quarters. Captain's just blind as all hell, and every time he'd go to sleep, I'd jump off of the hanging thing, and then go and sleep in that. As he kind of woozes back and forth, almost losing his balance, and goes, "Oh, so my sea legs are gone, Captain.
Well,
Goodbye." As he falls over and immediately is out.
all right. Well, I guess I'll be dragging Crump to the captain's quarters. You all, get to your positions, and we're gonna be setting sail. We're gonna head over to the Crystal Giants.
I'm gonna raise the glass. Turn to May. So I ever tell you about this recipe for heart of a god? Really nice, interesting recipe.
Why you have my interest?
As it cuts to black in the background, as the chef kind of starts to lean a little closer on the last minute of the scene, trying to catch an earful, as May starts taking notes. As the scene goes, the next month of travel goes seemingly unbothered, with you lot getting your training, some downtime, some rest, which will apply as we go. But as you lot kind of begin to almost find yourselves coming to a comfortable path and day-to-day routine, it seems that once again, almost a month later, a storm would brew in with what looked to be a large man-of-war made of solid metal. A large shark-like mouthpiece with a cannon big enough to pierce through the entirety of your deck seems to be gunning straight towards you lot, as the sides of it look to have a bunch of creatures, strangely blue-skinned, with carrying what looks to be large staves of ice, all looking over, sniveling and snickering as the ship begins to get closer. And that's where we're going to end session today. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time so the party actually gets some downtime stuff in the background and can apply that for this next fight. Take care.